The reasons that you should listen to me aren't because of my personal resume or what I've done professionally with guns. It's because of my experience with violent criminals. From the age of 11 until 23, I went through the juvenile system, and I watched kittens become killers. And not for anything that I specifically did. My mother pretty much abandoned me, left me at the doorstep of juvenile hall, essentially, and over a lighter, over just lighting it in my own mouth. They charged me with assault with a deadly weapon, and all my mom had to do was come pick me up, but she refused to pick me up. I don't know what strength existed in her that she could do that, and to resist my pleas and my cries as an 11-year-old child, just come get me, why won't you come get me? And for saying I didn't do it, that I didn't have anything against my teacher, I wasn't trying to hurt my teacher, I don't know what the hell you're trying to connect these two things. I was doing a little magic trick for the other kids. Escalated into a 6.5-year stay in the California Youth Authority for being in denial. 6.5 years in the most violent environment known in America for juveniles. I have seen tremendous violence in my life. But I will tell you that I came out of that unscathed and unscratched. Those are the things that I'm here to teach you. Somebody said to me one day, Nephi, your story is inspiring. You should go back there and tell these men, if I could do it, you could do it. And I said, you can miss me with that shit. I am not interested in that at all. As far as I'm concerned, burn them all down. But they were right. They were just not right about who. So I'm here to tell you, if I can do it, you can do it. It was the hardest part of my life. I'm a nice kid. I like music and animals, and I'm not bothering anybody. I'm an entertainer. I was showing off for other kids, and I wind up just falling down that hill for 12 years. And at the end of it all, I sat in front of the board. Every time I said I didn't do it, I caught 6 more months. So I sat in front of that board member and I said, look, man, give me all the time you can give me, but shut your mouth. I'm tired of this. Just max me out. I proved to him that day, and they recommended that I get paroled, and I refused to go to that hearing. I don't want to be on parole either. After I did that, he did speak to the governor, Pete Wilson, at the time, who was a fucking Democrat. He let me out. Took me out, put me on the street, gave me my life. No parole, no restrictions, no record, no nothing. I worked for San Pedro County Sheriff's Department 6 months after I'd been in prison 6.5 years. And I will tell you this, that the incident that got the youth authority closed in California was a female guard was stabbed and murdered, body thrown in a dumpster, found her in a landfill 3 days later. I warned them about that inmate. And they didn't move her or him. And it was my testimony that played a huge part in them finally closing the California Youth Authority. Close that whole bitch down. Not because those animals don't belong in there, but because it was so violent they just couldn't get a handle on it. Well, guess who those people in there are? They're the ones you're worried about out here. And they're all the same. They all have the same makeup, mentally and emotionally. If you think that what goes on in there doesn't apply out here, you're wrong. The problem in society is that people bring that subculture out here and they try to make it the way of life here. That's the guy you bump into in a dark alley. I have sat with some of the most vile and violent criminals that you have ever seen in your life. I've seen murders and suicides. I've seen guards do it. I've seen inmates do it. I've seen other men raped and beaten. I've seen people stabbed so bad you couldn't tell what race they were. But when you see through the fog of it, you start to break down what it really is. And that's the part that's hard for you. That's why I'm here. To explain that part of it to you so that you have an understanding of what the violent criminal's mentality is, what their mindset is. Because until you understand that, your plan sucks. If you're in the military and somebody says, hey, I want you to go over that hill and take care of a problem. I want you to have your plan on the desk to me tomorrow at 0500. And you show up the next day and he goes, what's your plan? Well, sir, we're going to go over there and fuck shit up. That'll be your last day of that rank. That's not a plan. And I can't tell you how many young people I know say, well, if somebody messes with you, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to fuck shit up. No, you're not. You're going to bitch out. Promise you that. Example here. First, we get this blue gun. Should be red, right? I have a loving relationship with my liberal and Democrat friends. I tell all Democrats, get you a gun. Because I don't want to shoot any unarmed opponents. Hey, I'm busting on everybody today, so don't get comfortable. Everybody's going to catch some today. So let's say you get your CCW class today, right? And then you get you a holster, and you wear that holster around empty. Just waiting, because it's 120 days, right? Just waiting for that day that you can finally stick it in. Like dating a Christian girl, right? What luck, bitches, I'm going all the way. And so you finally, that day comes, and the permit comes in the mail, you get your gun, and you stick it in your pants, and you're like, ah. And you know you're not supposed to imprint, but you kind of poke it around a little, like, adjust it a little too much. Because, you know, it feels kind of cool to get your permit. And then somebody comes around, fresh out of your permit, and they stick a gun in your face. And they say, give me all your shit. And now you're making decisions at that moment. And you realize, man, there's a gun 6 inches from my hand. But do we draw on a drawn weapon? No. So what the fuck are you doing? So now you stand there and he's not waiting for you to think about it. He's like, give me your shit. And you're like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna bitch out. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna give him your shit. And now he's gonna take your new gun that you just got. And then you're calling me up saying, I want a damn refund. Oh, CCW permit didn't do shit. Some motherfucker sticking a gun in my face. He took my brand new gun and I got all that ammo and stuff. I got holsters at home I ain't even fucking used it yet. Because that's the reality of it. The fact that you think you're going to do that Instagram shit and bring that gun up. You're going to get that sub-second draw. You don't get to go first. That's the disadvantage of being a good guy. You don't go first. So what's our strategy if we don't get to go first? Well, fuck it. What do I need this shit for? That's a piss-poor strategy. And I don't know how a CCW instructor utters one word past this moment right here. What the hell are they teaching people? This cowboy shit is not realistic. If that gun is in your face at this point, you've already made a dozen mistakes. You're already behind. You need to start a lot sooner than the moment it's sticking in your face. Gun ranges and instructors, they hate my guts because I tell you the truth. That's why I don't care. We should take this role as seriously as a doctor takes his surgery. Because you're going to rely and depend on information that you get from someone that's supposed to be a fucking expert. Do you really want to bet your life on that horse shit? Well, here's my plan. I'm going to draw my gun and shoot that son of a bitch. No, you're not. You're going to bitch out and give him your stuff. Because there's some things that are missing. Way ahead of that you haven't. Don't look at my hands from my window. There's the real path. You'll never understand violence until you have learned to conquer your fear of it. It's like getting past the waves. It's really hard to fight your way at the beach to get past those waves. It'll be crashing you into the sand. You got abrasions all over your knees. You got salt in your nose. 7 jellyfish have bitten you already. But when you get past those waves and you look at the waves as they go away, your whole perspective changes, but it's the same ocean. When I was in the environment, like it's very racially segregated. Blacks with blacks, whites with whites, browns with browns, and Asians with Asians. Well, I'm Afghan. Not a lot of Afghans in prison. Because generally, when we commit crimes, there's nothing left. That's a bomb joke for you slow motherfuckers. In the library. Right? We have to have an understanding of that. The first time you get punched in the face, most people are like, well, you know, I don't really enjoy that. But it's not as bad as I thought. And it's not. It's the psychology behind that and having that understanding and conditioning and training, if you will, to be able to understand the violence and not freak out so much by it. Yes, it's scary. Yes, you can get hurt. Yes, you can lose your life. But none of that affects whether that happens or not. How you feel about it. Remember, your feelings don't matter. They're like farts. Eventually they'll pass. Right? People get all worked up over their damn feelings. So what? All violent criminals are driven by a deep sense of powerlessness. It's very important that you remember this word, because this is what drives their behavior. These guys have the lowest self-esteem you will ever find in your life. They got generations of low self-esteem. Their mom probably sucks dick on Boulder Highway. Dad has been in prison 17 times. This guy hates his life. When he looks in the mirror every day, he has to lie to himself that he's not a filthy, dirty piece of shit. That's why he's out there every day trying to dominate somebody, trying to mad dog somebody, punking somebody. That's all about a person who's been bullied their whole damn life by society, and we don't have to get into the whys or the hugs that we should have gave somebody 20 years ago. That doesn't matter, because right now he's a piece of shit. I love my dog, but if she got rabies, there's only one solution. And it would break my heart. But that's the reality. And when they get through that system, because they went in there super weak, they become molded to it. They manufacture violent criminals in prison. Take the name corrections off of all of it. I'm not about prison reform. I'm about lighting fucking matches. Something needs to be done about it, but I can tell you what deters a criminal is getting the shit slapped out of them. Nobody really does anything. It's like, oh, I'm going to go to jail and hang out with my friends. I feel the same way about church. Sometimes you want to go places and you don't mind because there's people you know. That's why it's nicer for me to come here and know people that I've known for how many years I've known you? Yeah, something like that. And Ray back there, and other people that I know. It's nice to have that in here than just total strangers. Good to see you up and about. Fuck cancer, right? Yeah. You know what? I took her to be here today. But if there's one thing you need to put in your head about what you understand, how you look at a criminal, you need to understand that I'm looking at a powerless person. That is every essence of what drives them to do what they would do. The one thing you're worried about is driven by that. 100%. They are each on an insatiable quest to seize the power of others, that's you, through dominance. It's not as complicated as you would think, but every last one of them is a coward. I mean, let's think about this for a second. Is there anything heroic about some criminal sneaking up on you, sticking a gun in your face and saying, give me all your shit? What is that? It's cowardice, right? Can I get a little bit of agreement here? It's cowardice? So why the fuck are you treating him like a war hero? Oh my God, hey, take it easy, man. Don't do nothing crazy, whatever it is you want. That's the wrong approach. You don't treat a bitch like that, you treat him like this. We have this set up this way because this guy is conning you. He's scamming you. All these faces he makes, these Monsters Inc. He's full of shit. And you're falling for it.
Can you go back to that last slide?
That one? It's not like there's boobs on it or anything. Somebody want to volunteer? You good now? They're all cowards. And you know this by their behavior. This is a sucker punch, sneaking up on some people, sticking a gun in their face and jacking them. That's a punk move. A bitch move. Read it for what it is. You have to start looking at the signs the way they are. Not how it looks on the outside with all their scary faces and their mad dogs. Don't listen to that stuff. That's all part of their costume. You have to look at the very nature of what they're doing is cowardly. And that means that your opponent is a coward. You have to check that box, because if you don't, your strategy is going to fall apart. It has to be based on a true strategy. So I'm going to break this down for you. This is, I don't want to ask you to review yourselves. Anybody know what the plan of salvation is? Yeah, that works. The people that know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. Yep. Saving your ass is what it means to me. So, if somebody, they come up and pick on someone else, sticks a gun in your face, says, give me everything you got. Did they bring this for violence, or did they bring it for compliance? Well, why are you worried about it then? Uh-oh. Why are you worried about it?
Bullets kill.
Huh?
Bullets kill.
But he's only there for compliance.
You don't know if it's loaded or not.
You're right. You don't know for sure. How do you know for sure then? How can you
Test it.
That's Susan Providence. Don't listen to anything she says about violence. No, don't test her. Let me teach you fucking class, okay? You have to know this because you can't advance to the next step if you don't have an answer to this question. And this is where he got you right out the gate. Because you don't know, it could be 90-10. He's here to kill me, or he's here because he wants some money. But because you don't know, what are you going to do? Freeze. You're not going to risk the gamble. Because the leverage he has against you is that your life is worth more to you than the shit in your pocket right now. Is it not? So you're like, I guess I'm giving up my stuff. All that tough talk about fucking shit up is... Hopefully he's not filming this and posted on social media. Right? That's the leverage he's got against you. And he knows it. And he's milking it. So here's how you know. You've got to step out of your typical way of looking at things and start looking into body language and actions. And everyone says actions speak louder than words, right? Nobody believes it. Because some guy treats you like shit and he comes back and he sings you a sweet song and he tells you everything's going to be wonderful. Show me, motherfucker. I don't want to hear you talk. If he shows it to you, it's for compliance. Same reason law enforcement shows it to you. Same shit. If it was for violence, it would look different. It might come like that. It might come out the car window at 35 miles an hour. It might come at your back. It's going to look different. So if they're showing it to you, then they are trying to get you to do something. Now you could test them and they might shoot you. I'm talking about playing chess with them, not playing with them. Because this whole scenario we're talking about is you digging yourself out of a hole you should have never been in the first place. Should have never got that close to you. So, if he shows it to you, it's for compliance. Right? 99%. Now, calm the fuck down and get in the game. Because you just got your first valuable piece of information. Now you can proceed. That's it. Stay. Now you can proceed. Now, does he want money or power? Get that money. I do surveys with all the students. I have thousands of them in my records. I have probably the best data on your mindset than anybody. 70% of you believe they want cash. Guess what? 70% of you are wrong. This guy is not out there putting his rent money together. Otherwise, violent crime would spike between the 28th and the 31st of every month. He's not out there trying to put some money together for his child support, catch up on his baby mama's back payments. He's out there coming up. Coming up is a term to describe something you don't need. It's extra, like having 3 cars. I told you this. And I'm going to drive this point home as many times as I can today. He's not there for your money. He's there to take your power. He takes the money as a trophy to memorialize the day he took your power. In the 6.5 years and the 12 years that I spent in the places that I did as a youth, I never once heard them brag about how much money they got from one of their victims. Not once. You know what I heard? How scared somebody else was of them. This was torture for me because the level of insecurity in that environment is off the chain. Like, yeah, I robbed this dude and he pissed himself. And the other guy's like, yeah, well, I robbed a dude and he pissed and shit himself. And all they do all day long is just jerk each other off about who's the tougher guy, who's stronger, who's more badass, who's more afraid of me. Oh, caught you flinching. Right? This is stupid mentality. All day long, that's all they do is brag about, I'm somebody scared of me. They got respect or they don't have respect. You know what they think respect is? Fear. If I flinch at somebody, he goes, yeah, you respect it. It's not respect, you friggin' moron. But to them it is. Fear is respect to them. They have no respect. And why they want it, I used to ask them all the time, why are you guys always writing on shit? Putting your little gang writing on chairs and benches and mirrors. You know you can't see as good out of a mirror when you scratch your shit all over it. And I don't know why you took to writing so much you can't spell for shit. They're always pissing on stuff like it's theirs. And I said, name some property you've owned or your family's owned in the last 2 generations that's in your name. What do you mean, my neighborhood? You don't own a brick in that neighborhood. What are you standing on? It's an idea. It's baloney. It's horseshit. They're playing make-believe. You know some jackass stole my photo album once? It was full. And I was like, man, you stole my damn photo album. Who would do such a thing? And I caught this idiot. Well, when I say idiot, I mean he was a wigger. And for those of you that don't know, that's a white person that's very fucking confused. And he took my photo out. By the way, you should not be able to go more than one shade different. Like I could pretend to be Hispanic or something, and my people might, well, I'll buy that. Right? But that's just it. One shade difference. So if any of you thinking of having a transition, right? He was out of line, but I found my photo album. You know, this guy, he took all my pictures and he rearranged them into this random ass family. Like he had my nieces, his daughter, all my girlfriends. Like this is my baby mama number 1, baby mama number 2. God knows what he put my mom as. He thought she was a little younger than she was. I was like, what? How low does your self-esteem have to be to take the fucking pictures at Michael's and put them up on your wall with the advertisement still in there? That's my bitch. That's how insecure they are. That's pathetic. I mean, I laughed so hard about that, and then I punched him right in his eye. Oh, you got to. You stole my shit. But I laughed about it first. This is who you're dealing with. You're dealing with like the most insecure person you could ever imagine. And they're insecure about everything. Super easy to trigger. You just don't because you're afraid they might become violent. Trust me, they're violent. But they do it because they're trying to prove something to themselves and other people around them. Because if they're really smart criminals, then you'd find out that robbing people is very low yield with very high risk. It doesn't make no sense. You got to peel back these layers and see what they are. Now he's got to have a plan. This guy has a plan making you look bad. So he's like, well, I'm going to catch unwary women coming from their work at the mall to their car. And they come to their cars and they're like, give me everything you got. That's his little shtick. Right? And they all got one. And then he has to wait for somebody to come down his little trap, and then he springs the trap and he makes the attempt. Give me everything you got. Now this is the moment you are aware of the situation. This is the most important moment, and it's that thin. It's a sliver of a moment. We'll call it the wedge. Because what don't you have enough time? Shit, I just gave you the answer. What you don't have is enough time, and so you need to get more, right? And we do that by creating a wedge. A wedge is something we drive in between two hard spaces and forces it out. So, he makes the attempt. Now, let me ask you a question. He's a coward, right? We've already established that. Does that mean he's scared when he makes that attempt on you?
Nope.
Of course he's scared. His heart is beating out of his chest. That's why he's there, to get medication for that. And that medication comes from you. So here he is. But on the outside, all you see is this. Give me everything you got. Now, can he stay like this?
No.
No, this is his worst nightmare. How does it go away? What? Oh, hell no. That's his fix. But what is the fix? When you do what? When you show fear. The second you go, oh, hey. Then all of a sudden his becomes false confidence. Now it's false, it's temporary, it's going to wear off in a little while, but not before he fucks you up. It's a temporary fix. That's why they keep doing it. But what state do you need him to be in for him to be beatable? No, not relaxed. This isn't sex. He's like, shh, just let it happen. Poor John. John's going to have to go get rebaptized after this class. He has to stay in a state of fear for you to beat him. And it's easy because he showed up like that. All you got to do is keep him there. Your job is fairly easy. Do you know how you keep him there? Don't you dare take your fucking eyes off him. By not showing fear. Now don't tell me y'all can't lie about your feelings. Honey, do I look fat in this dress? No, he said, you look fine. We all lie, right? I'd lie to protect my children, if I had any. I'd lie to protect another person. As a bounty hunter, I'd lie my ass off. Trust me, they don't just answer the door and go, ah, you got me.
You better not lie to me.
You gotta draw them out and bait. Your job is actually much easier than you thought it was. Because all you have to do is hold your position. I'll give you an example. Now, compliance, right, is what he's after. And if you don't do it, so, here, grab this. Point at me and say, give me everything. Spit it out. I can't understand your English. And if you need money, just ask, you know. Here you go. God bless you, brother. Don't spend it all in one place. All right? You never. That's why. Now you can comply, but not show fear. Right? Now I'm not trying to just be nice and then I'm literally going to walk off because I'm going to sneak around the corner and. Oh, on second thought, give me that back. Right? I'm trying to dig my way out of a hole. That's all I'm trying to do. You just can't show fear, ever. I will tell you there's one thing I never did, not once. And I will tell you I did cry many nights in my bunk and in my cell. I was hurt deeply over what my mother did. I was hurt even more deeply over how every grown-up in my life just kicked me one more time. Sure, I cried. A lot. But did those people ever see that? Not once. If they had ever seen that, they would have eaten me alive. You can't show fear. Trust me, this is very important. Whatever it takes inside of you not to show that fear. You can die laughing. It's fine. Don't you die afraid. And don't you die letting that other person see you afraid, because that will make them attack you more. What is it when I tell you don't run from a bear? Why? They're going to chase you. What do you think's going to... What kind of animal are we? Slow? Fucker's not lying. We're predators. Slow predators. Our eyes face forward, just like herds do. And we eat meat. That instinct is in each of us. So any of them trying to tell you that they're different than you about violence and about all this other stuff, they're full of crap. Every one of you in here can be triggered to violence. Everyone has their breaking point. Everybody has their level of tolerance. I have when somebody did this shit to me. Oh, it's on. You don't poke me. That's just my personal life, right? We all have that limit. You know what was interesting about you guys? This kind of restored my faith in humanity with you guys, is that I asked what was the number one reason why you wanted to get a permit. And we live in such a selfish world, everybody's just concerned about themselves. But you guys, 85% of you said to protect others. Man, I teared up over that. It made it feel like I was really helping the right people. You guys are sheepdogs. Your nature is to protect. I'm kind of the same way. I don't really carry a gun for myself. I don't remember the last time somebody tested me. I almost miss it. Gotta warm up that backhand. That's what I do. I carry it for the protection of other people. Probably why we get along so good. But when you're dealing with this knucklehead, you need to get that time going. And so the basic premise of a wedge is a question. So, one more time. Point at me and say, give me everything. What? Well, I heard you. You don't have to fucking swear. Are you joking or are you actually robbing me? I'm just asking because I'm more than happy to give you my wallet, but I have a feeling that Ashton Kutcher is hiding in the bushes. Are you robbing me or are you pranking me? Okay, legitimate robbery. I just clarify it, right? Here's my fucking wallet, right? Now, you see how much wider I made that timeline? Because while I'm messing with him with questions, he's over there thinking he's still stuck because this is still going on inside. So this puts him in a very bad position. So that's the first building block of a wedge. Now the second one is something peculiar. Strange. Right? So, one more time, let's pretend I'm a woman. Just for a second. Okay, I am an ugly woman. But I'm a handsome man. Do your thing. Are you robbing me? Yeah. Can we please do rape instead? I mean, I haven't been late in like 6 months, and this whole bad guy thing is really doing it for me. No? Why? Because what's happening with him? In his mind, he's like, don't stereotype me, bitch. I'm a robber, not a raper. You got me twisted. Right? He's like, wait, what? This girl needs help. She's got problems. I just want some money. Right? You're messing with his head. You have to. You're digging your way out of this nonsense. You got to get in his head. You got to play smarter than them. Now, this isn't the ideal situation because remember I said earlier, If you stand there with a gun in your face, you made a dozen mistakes already. But here's you digging your way out. Humor works, peculiarity works. Puzzles, you got to give him something he didn't come there thinking about. Because he came up with a basic plan when he stepped to you, and then you throw some other stuff at him, he's like, it's kind of like when a cop pulls me over, which has happened quite a few times in my life. And he comes up to the window and says, do you know why I pulled you over?
Nope.
Because I'm fat and you think I have donuts? Found out about me and your wife? That must have been painful. I don't know, short on your quota? No. Well, what the fuck is it? Why don't you just tell me instead of playing this game of charades? I've already got him off his game. And then I might ask him, did you calibrate? I'm sure you pulled me over for my speeding problem. I'm seeing somebody about it. But did you calibrate your radar before the stop? And he says, he's going to answer you. Why? Because it's relevant to his job. But he walks into this, it's like, well, is that your shift start in the morning or in the afternoon? Because if you tested it the next morning, it stands to reason by the end of the day it'd be off. All right? Oh, I got it. Now, at minimum, I might get a ticket, but I'm going to tell you, there's a true skill to not giving a fuck. It's a very important skill that you must develop. The last thing you want to do, because what's he going to say? You want to go to jail, smart ass? You want to flip him up? Tell him, sure. What's for dinner? Right? You can't give him the leverage. No, hey, I'm trying to go to jail. No, you just messed up with that encounter too. You need to let him think that you don't give two shits about going to jail. Otherwise, what's he going to leverage you on? Beer? Oh, fear. I thought we were going to have some private tutoring for him. Just give him a beer. Yeah, all right, here, I thought maybe you'd enjoy this hot day. Yeah. You have to learn to play this game a little bit better. And it's not hard. Your opponent's an idiot. You know, I used to do this joke took 3 months to build. You know how many times I've been through a metal detector? I'm probably sterile. But every time I went through the metal detector, I would do this. And I wouldn't say anything. And then until finally this one dude says, man, why are you always holding your breath when you go through this freaking metal detector? I'm like, what's your number? Like his prison number. You know, because if there's a low number, you're like, you don't know anything you knew. And I go, man, you should know that by now. You've been in this game a minute. And he's like, no, man, tell me. And I was like, oh, if you don't know, you don't know. And I've just built this curiosity. Going through metal detectors. Then one day he says, come on, man, tell me. He gave me his dessert of chow. Sweeten the deal. I said, because I'm carrying contraband, stupid. If you hold your breath, the scanner can't read you. So this dumb son of a bitch, we're going through the metal detector and goes, there he is, slammed up against the wall, took his contraband, he had some weed on him. And he looked at me and he just goes, you motherfucker. I was like, you deserve that, bro, because that was the dumbest shit I've ever... but it took 3 months to build that curiosity enough to really mess with his head and get him to believe it. And then one time this other guy was in the cell across from me and we were on lockdown for some race riot or something. These are very boring times. And I said, and they call the white guys Woods. I said, hey, Wood. He goes, what's up? I said, man, we're cool, right? Yeah, we're cool. And of course, the whole unit can hear this conversation, right? just from cell to cell across. And I said, man, you nasty. He said, what? I ain't gonna put your business out on the street, but you know what you did. He's like, I don't care, man, put it out on the street. I ain't done nothing I'm ashamed of. And I go, we'll talk when this all's over. We'll meet in the yard and discuss it. But you know what you did. And then I went back on my bunk. And he's like, psst, psst, hey, it's killing him, right? And I go, I told you I'll tell you later. He's like, I don't care, man, put it out on the street. I go, I'm not going to do that to you, brother. I have too much respect for you because I don't know if it's true or not. And he goes, what, you talking about when I let that fag suck my dick? I was like, yeah. I didn't know anything. I was just fishing. But this is how gullible they are. This is your opponent. How dare you get beat by this loser motherfucker? Shameful if you get beat by this turd. His game is weak. Super weak. But it just looks scary on the surface. Look, let's take that costuming to a different, the hell happened? To a different level. I'm probably pushing buttons in my pocket. You missed that joke. It was a dirty one. Where is it? There it goes. Oh, there it goes. Probably should have put it in my mouth. In order for you to get out of this situation, you're going to have to navigate. There's no other way out of it. Otherwise, you're giving up your stuff. And it's not about your stuff, by the way. Who cares about that? It's because if he thinks that he can get away with it, he will. He won't get violent, though, until he knows that you won't fight back. Trust me. Their mentality is all based on finding somebody who isn't going to fight back. All right? And here's where it matters for you. Is it doesn't matter your size. It doesn't matter how tall you are, how buff you are, if you got tattoos on your face. None of this matters. What matters is that your posture and your eye contact are unwavering. You can't ever be like this. Never take this posture. Always in. Always in. Because this position is the same as that, right? But it doesn't look that way. You just kind of disguise it with, like, I have a conversation with somebody that's going to be like this. But it can quickly turn to that. But I don't want him to know that. I don't want to be giving my secrets away. Tell him I said hi. This is simple psychology. But it's scary psychology because, somebody could get the shit slapped out of them. Or catch a round. Whatever it is. Your situation with this guy's not going to improve by you showing fear at all. So, I'll give you another story. Somebody steals something. I got this idea for this from something that did happen, so you'll connect it. When you first get into youth authority, somebody's going to test you. You're not getting out of this. And they looked at me like Andy Dufresne. They were taking bets on me and how long before I whacked myself if something happened to me. Because I was a normal kid, 16 years old. I still to this day don't have a single tattoo, and I've never done drugs in my life, and I don't even know what beer tastes like. I've tasted other liquors, but never beer. Not my thing. I'm terrified. This is the most violent place anywhere in the country. And I'm not affiliated with nobody. I'm on my own. And so when I get in there, but I have some experience from 11 until this time, observing violent criminals and their behavior and predicting the way they are. Now there's a system of justice, if you will, because you can't snitch on anybody, like, hey, somebody took something out of my locker. You can't do that. You have to deal with it internally. And the process of dealing with that is called throwing a fuck. It's a stupid name, I didn't come up with it. And what that means is while 100 violent criminals are watching TV, you get up there and turn the TV off and you say, check this shit out. Whoever took my whoop-de-whoop, fuck your hood, fuck your dead homeboys, and fuck everything you love. Booyah. And whoever it was that did it, they're up out of their seat in a second, and you're off to the races. But it's very unnerving. It's like Bertie Bott's every flavor beans. Right? You don't know what criminal you're going to get. And the guy who picks you is probably not going to be one that thinks that you can whoop him. But it's like looking in here and say, one random person in here, like pulling their name out of a hat, is going to fight me in like 5 minutes. Pretty unnerving. But this is the test. But I noticed this gentleman, when I say gentleman, I really mean that loosely. His name was Flacco. They all have stupid game names. And Flacco was eyeballing me a little bit too much. And I'm like, oh, and his buddies are in his ear. I go, he's the one that's been selected to test me. And so I watch him a little bit more from a distance, and boom, he opens my locker, closes it. Oh, he's doing a quick check on my locker. Definitely him. So that day after chow, I got up and I turned off the TV, and everyone was like, oh shit, we didn't think he was going to do it. And I'm looking at 100 violent criminals, and I say, whoever took my photo album, fuck your hood, fuck your dead homeboys, and fuck everything you love. And silence. And I just walked around looking at everybody, and then people said, don't be looking at me. I said, I'll look at you if you took it. Which one of you punk-ass motherfuckers took my photo album? Nobody's answering me. You're supposed to be hard on this unit. And I went back and sat down. Now they're all looking at each other. They're wondering who just punked out to me. This unaffiliated dude. Flacco's in the corner going, I don't want anything to do with this, because he just looked in the locker. He hadn't done anything yet. So this is the big talk now. Everybody's like, dang, because they're snitching, dry snitching, and then not answering a fuck. No, you get greenlit for that. Like any race can stab you over that kind of a violation. All right. Other than that, you have to get permission from racial groups to cross over and do violence to someone of another group. Except me. You know, I'm Afghan, right? So the next day we have a trade movement. We go to the gymnasium. There's one guard and like 15 or 20 inmates. So I go in there and there's Flacco in there carving his placa all over the bench. And with his homeboys, and I said to the guard, I go, can you take 5 minutes for a smoke break? He said, you sure? I go, yeah, I'm sure. So he goes and takes a smoke break. Nobody really notices him leaving the gym. And I walk up to Flacco and I said, get up. And he just looks at me like, he has no idea what's going on. Because he has no idea that I knew. No one told me, I just watched his behavior. So it was really odd to him, like, wait a minute. How does he know that I was targeting him? I said, get up or I'll sock you right where you sit. He still didn't get up. So, true to my word, I started bashing his face in. Now, I expected his homeboys to jump in. But you got to do what's right and let the consequence follow. So I'm beating his face in. And not knowing, as I'm kind of trying to watch my back at the same time, all the brothers had formed a half circle around the fight. And they were like, no, straight up. They were keeping his homeboys at bay. I don't know why they did that for me. I'm grateful for that. that. They have my back a lot. And I didn't ask. Now, how it looked on the surface was, we didn't think this guy was going to come in here and do what he's supposed to do. Then he got up and did it. And then no one answered it. And then he investigated the issue and he found out that it was Flacco. He sent the guard out of the gym like a gangster. And then whooped his ass regardless of the fact that his homeboys were lying in wait. Respect. Now here's the con. That photo album story came from the first institution I was in. I didn't own a photo album. I conned the cons. Don't be mad at me. Now this doesn't get me out of the violence, right? It just puts it in my control. All I did was just create this bullshit legacy, and I don't care what they think. Because the idea of me as a normal, regular, everyday person coming up in front of these violent criminals and murderers and rapists and whoever else is in there and threatening them to their face, that's terrifying. So I'm like, I'm not going to just do this, so that way I could look with confidence at everyone in that room. You do it. Knowing damn well it wasn't any one of you. All I was doing was peacocking. I conned these stupid motherfuckers like this for 12 years. I fooled them so many times. You know that 60% of the violence is gang-related. If you're in one gang, you're a Norteño and you're a Sereno, you see each other, you gotta fight. That's a sucky rule. But that's the life you choose. Lifestyle choice. Same for you out here. You hang around a bunch of shitty-ass friends, well, guess what? It's gonna come to you at some point. You say, I don't do drama. If you say that a lot, then you do. The next 30% of the violence is vices. Gambling, drugs, cigarettes, pornography, and commissary. Why? Because if you bet on the Laker game and that fat girl writing you every weekend didn't put money on your books, you can't pay your debt. And if you borrowed somebody's dirty magazine and you hand it back with the pages stuck together, well, you got beef. Lots of things. These things all start problems with each other. That's 90% of the violence right there. The last 10% of the violence is social ranking. Who sleeps on the top bunk? Who sleeps on the bottom bunk? Who gets out of the way when somebody's walking towards you in the hallway and who goes straight? This is normal. That 10%. I don't want you to change that. I want you to master that 10%. That's when somebody walks by you and steps on your brand new shoe and you don't say nothing, that's a problem. It's not that you're looking for trouble, but there's a good chance that that person stepped on your shoe to see if he could take your woman from you. You gotta say something. Like, you're gonna just step on my shoe and not say nothing? Right? You have to say something. Now, unless this dude is, you're never gonna see him again, you're on vacation in Canada and there's some Canadian steps on your shoe, you probably just ignore him. Well, my point is that there's a social ranking that happens. It's the same thing when two guys look at each other across the bar. We all have a couple of lines that are already pre-packaged. Like I look at him and I think, this guy might give me some trouble. Do we know each other? Have we met? Can I buy you a drink? What's up? Just notice he's looking at me, it just kind of looks familiar to me. All right, that's if I think he might give me some trouble. But if I think I can whoop his ass 9 ways from Sunday, I'm going to look at him and say, what the fuck are you looking at? But you can tell a lot from somebody by how they come out with that. Because people are full of shit. They're always just making that display to try to get somebody else to back down. People always show me videos. Watch, these two are going to fight. And I look for a second and go, no, they're not. Trust me, I know what it looks like when two people are about to fight. Most of the time, the one guy wants the other one to just back down so that he can do this. That's what I thought. But what's his body language doing? Yes, so don't believe it. He didn't want to fight either. I don't want to fight. I mean, I became comfortable, but it now feels like cardio. And so that's my new thing. I tell people, it's like, you want to keep running your mouth, I'm going to tell you, what's going to get me upset is you making me do cardio. And I'm going to give you 30 seconds of hell you've never felt in your life. And then after that, I'm going to go home and sleep. Right? I'm not interested in doing cardio anymore. But in understanding this person, you just got to get past all that. And understand that the person is doing a performance. He's trying to sell you some bullshit. Now, it doesn't mean he doesn't have a gun in his hand, but his intention was for you to surrender, and he didn't account for you to hold him in a state of suspended animation by just not showing fear. You don't have to. That's the only leverage you have, by the way. The only leverage you have is not showing fear. Period. Now, what is the greatest fear to mankind? Huh? Who said marriage? Well, Christians would disagree with you. That death is... Why? Why is death scary? There you go. That's the answer. The fear of the unknown is the greatest fear to mankind. This is one of your greatest weapons. Because he thinks he knows you. That's why he stepped to you in the first place. He already read something about you that says, okay, this is the one I'm going to go after. That's why when I say stupid stuff like, are you robbing me? Can we please do rape instead? Right? In his mind, it's put it right in the world of the unknown because he doesn't have an answer for it. And that creates fear. I didn't bring it today because, well, we're in the fucking library. I normally keep a very different looking revolver in my right pocket, upside down. I call it my wedge gun. And it's got tape all over the handle. And it's got dirt grinded into it. I scratched off what looks like the serial numbers. I made this gun look like a throwaway. I made it look shady as hell. One time a cop pulled me over. I told him I had a weapon in the vehicle. He asked to see it. I put it up. He was like, ooh, ooh, ooh. He thought he had busted somebody. But this gun looks really shady. Now I have my normal one that I carry. But my first reaction would be here. Because if I'm drawing my weapon, I already know I'm not going to do any of this stuff, right? But here's somebody's coming within 30 feet of me or whatever, and I'd be like, where's my damn chapstick? Here it goes. That's me drawing my weapon. You see how I'm leading my head over here, my attention like that's what I'm going for, but what I'm really going for is this. I don't let anybody, all y'all are in my space right now. And if we were outside of this environment, I'd have my hand on my gun. Just in my pocket. Or up here when it's cooler. My right hand is for my gun, my left hand is for carrying shit and flipping people off. Fits right out the driver's side window, right? This is a much better strategy than trying to be this guy, right? You're not going to be that guy. The subtlety, the sneakiness, and being prepared ahead of time is far faster than you trying to get to that gun that you just aren't going to even go for it because you know he's got you beat. You already got a gun in your face. You're not going to risk that. And if you want that gun out of your face, you're going to have to do it yourself. Do you want to do that? No. But if you don't give any body language indicating there's some fear happening with you, just, hell's my damn chapstick. Right? Now you got your hand on your gun. I walk everywhere like that. Hand in my gun. Now, can I borrow your purse real quick? Oh my God, it's so heavy. You carry it like, turn your fucking cameras off. I swear to God, the first one you post this shit is dead meat. That's my phone. Right? Now, if you walk around a grocery store like this, would you be ready for anything? Hell yeah, but what's the problem? Excuse me, man, where's your vegetable section at? Where are you going? Tactically, this is awesome. Right? It's like not really going to work, but now ladies can get away with this because y'all can put some gay shit on your purse and nobody's going to pick on you for it. I wish I could carry a purse and get away with it because you could hide a gun in your purse pretty easy. But what if you were to take a little small revolver like the one I got, hammerless, and you took the stuffing out of a little stuffed animal, and you crammed that gun in his butt, sewed it back up, and left a hole for your finger, and you hung that little stuffed animal on your purse, you'd be like this, wouldn't you? Because what kind of permit is this? Is there any limit to the level of concealment you can take it? You could keister that gun and use it like mace. I have to take this off. My homophobia is kicking in. Thank you. Look. Stop thinking about, I already know the answer to this, so I want to ask you. You guys are going to carry it in appendix carry. You're going to carry it at your 3 o'clock or behind your hip or what. There's like 3 or 4 ways that most of you are planning on carrying your gun. Use your imagination a little bit more. The beautiful loophole in the concealed carry permit is it doesn't say how you can conceal it. You can hide it in your weave. You draw attention to yourself enough, I'm going to notice you. I like it though. How many days did it take? Yeah. Point is, you can hide it all kinds of different ways. I'm not advocating for this, but if I have an opportunity to sneak my gun into a place that has a sign that says I don't want it in there, not including the library because it's against the law, but like a club or someplace like that, I'm holding my breath. See what I'm saying? I'm going to do everything I can. If they bust me, you know what I'm not going to do? Oh man, I'm sorry, I had one. No, I'm just going to be like, yeah, I'll be right back. I got a wardrobe malfunction. And I'm just going to walk away. What's he going to do? Chase you down and tackle you? I demand to know why that metal detector went off. None of your damn business. Don't be snitching on yourself. If you get busted and you can't pull it off, go put it in your car. But I'm going to try. That's why I park real close to the front. Trying to give me some handicap stickers. Why do you need a handicap? Because I keep getting caught bringing my gun in and I have to go back to the car. You know how else you can sneak them past security? Homophobia. Because what do? They hired a big old burly bearded guy who's at the front. And if you just walk up to him and you're just like, excuse me, is this where we do the full cavity search? He's not going to commit to that search. Right? And then you just go, whoo. I like that. Can you do it again? He said, take your faggot ass inside the damn van. hesitance, right? You're going to play on that. Other one is I bring a knife that I don't like or care about, and I walk up to them totally apologetically, and I'm so sorry, I forgot I had this on me. I know I'm not supposed to bring this. This is really, my dad gave me this. Can you just hold it back here? I don't want to hold all the back to my car. I'm sorry. I know the rules. I'm sorry. Can you just hold on to it? You're good, man. Just come get it after the show. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Give me $20. And then walk my stupid ass in there with my gun. Now, I'm not telling you all these things. You got to use your own imagination. But if there's a place that doesn't want you carrying a gun and it's their policy, fuck their policy. So, fear of the unknown is a great tool. That means you can't be such a foregone conclusion. That means you can't be so careless about the way you present yourself when you leave your damn house every day. Guys, don't wear pink. I'm not saying we don't, I'm saying don't wear pink. Don't leave your house in flip-flops. You ever been in a fight in some flip-flops? No, I ain't talking about Arab women. They take them off. Ask Bush, he knows he got 2 shoes through that. That's the worst insult you can be given by an Arab woman, by the way. Is having your shoes thrown at them. There are 20,000 gun deaths a year in America. It's a lot of people. If you're a decent human being, that number should bother you. And you almost understand why people want to take them. And it's going up. But that's not the whole story. Is it? Barack Obama is not my favorite president. Neither is his husband. Come on, man! I told you I was going all the way.
Yeah, Michael?
He had the CDC perform a study that said, we want to know how many defensive gun uses there were in the country. And one body of research estimated annual gun use for self-defense to be much higher, up to 2.5 million incidents, suggesting that self-defense can be an important crime deterrent. All you people asking yourself, why isn't the gun control people understand the logic that you're just making it easier for criminals? Let me wake you up real quick. They do know it.
They're the criminals.
And they don't care. They know this number. It's their number. But they tell you, oh, we got to get these guns off the street. No, because the guns they're taking are yours. They know the numbers don't work. They don't care because the reasons they want you to not have guns is the same reason Hitler didn't want people having guns. There's nothing left to argue with them about. All we can do, and I say this to all my black brothers and sisters who are fighting for social justice occurs at the end of a motherfucking gun. Not that you have to use it, but you have to have it. If there is one right that people in the minority communities, and especially the black community, should be exercising, it's the right to bear arms. Because if somebody's fuck with you and you don't like it, well, you know what? Do something. Nobody's fucking with me. I'm an Afghan. Trust me, I understand about that. My culture got screwed over by Russians. And guess what? They got their asses kicked, didn't they? You know what crumbled Russia? Fucking with Afghanistan. Bankrupted some people who were entirely resolved. It wasn't because we were bad or we wore them out. Because Afghans don't mess with people. They mind their own damn business. They don't try to conquer anybody. When we mess with people, if you think for a second they're going to come and take your guns and then surrender theirs right along with them, you're a fool. And there has been no instance in history where one side has had power over another and not abused it at some point. Look at Australia, those dumb sons of bitches. Their cool accents and stuff. Still got screwed. Look at the Ukraine. Where all the liberals are like, give them some guns. We gotta get some guns over there. Like, what'd you just say? That's like your mom making dinner for your neighbor and giving you shit. Peace exists between the tiny space between two powers. The second one has it over the other guy's getting screwed. There's 5 reasons you need a gun. Number 1, national security. We should say giving a gun to everybody in this country is a matter of national security. Why? Because the military doesn't move that fast, do they? Even in California, the liberal nest of the West Coast, if a bunch of blue helmets started making their way on the shores of Santa Monica, there'd be about 100,000 rifles pointed at them within minutes. With their pink hats and everything. Blue hat, pink hat, whatever, both. Japan did not invade the mainland in America when they attacked Pearl Harbor because they said there was a rifle behind every blade of grass. We keep our country safe because we have guns. And the price we pay for freedom is that. That's our invoice for freedom. Yes, it's sad that this many people died. There's no part of that that's not heartbreaking. But this is the price we must pay for the freedom. If you had 20,000 people lined up on a cliff, and then 2.5 million people on the other side that would live, I personally would walk up to every last one of those 20,000 people and put a bullet in their hand. That's the simple decision that you make. Save 3 million or preserve 20,000. Which one of you guys was here yesterday doing quals? A Christian guy asked me yesterday, this is my first 1-star review, that son of a bitch. You knew I was going to talk about it. We're all in line doing quals outside the range, and he says, do you know Jesus? And I said, you mean like I have his cell number? Are you looking for a hookup or something? He's like, no, do you know him as your personal savior? And I said, brother, this is not the appropriate forum to be proselyting. And he won't stop. And after a minute, I said, I'm not sure that my seminar tomorrow is going to be, along, your tastes. He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, it's kind of R-rated. He goes, your sins are your own. And I said, what did you just say to me? He says, well, you don't like Jesus? And I go, Jesus is awesome. You're a fucking asshole. I said, I'll take the 1-star review, but here's your money back. Don't show up to class tomorrow. If I see you over there, I'm going to be throwing your ass right out the door. He gave me a 1-star review and said that I don't like Christians and that Christians aren't welcome at my business. No, and I put it on there. I said, no, be truthful about quoting me. I said, Jesus was awesome, but you're a fucking asshole. So when you guys think about reviewing me later, find that guy's thing and let him have hell. This is the math, right? Some studies on the association between self-defensive gun use and injury or loss to the victim have found less loss and injury when a firearm is used. 94% of all 2.5 million defensive gun uses result in the criminal running away. The other 6% is that 20,000 that die every year. So what does that mean? If I was going to structure a training program based on what I actually needed and not this guy, right? Because that's the least relevant scenario that you would find yourself able to execute. It means right here, just what I said to you about your opponent, he's a coward. There's your fucking proof. 94% of them bitch out when somebody else has a gun. So what does that mean? The most important skill set you need to have is it's confidence in the way that you present, the way that you look, the way that you carry yourself, the way you live your life, your defensive display is what tells the criminal, not today, motherfucker. This is the work that has to be done before that gun's sticking in your face. That somebody's looking at you from a distance and going, yeah, let me keep looking. They shouldn't spend but a brief moment on somebody. When they linger, you're already something in your chink in your armor. Self-confidence is the key to self-defense.